Hi, everyone. This is Kim Spencer, your host of Your Number One Fan podcast. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. This is going to be the first official episode. I did a little teaser, but this is a solo episode where I'm going to kind of give a little background into who I am and talk more about what this podcast is. I really am excited to open this discussion about being yourself, living authentically, and pivoting in your life. I think it's so important to talk about. And I'm excited I already have like 8 or 9 people scheduled to come on, and we are just going to dive into so many different topics. I'm so excited. Of course, I am not an expert in this. I just have a lot of experience and passion about the subject of just pivoting your life and doing what you want to do, regardless of what people might think or things that they say or whatever is holding you back. I just think is so important, and just embrace the cringe. If you feel cringy, that's fine. It just means that you're doing the right thing. My coach, my business coach, content creator coach, Tess Barclay is awesome. And she says that being cringy is just showing you that you're going to be successful. It's like a prerequisite to success. And I 100% agree with that. Like I said, I have so much experience in just the subject of pivoting in life and reinventing yourself. I think that's what it really comes down to, is not being afraid to reinvent yourself, to start over. I think there's a million reasons to stay comfortable, to stay in one spot, whether it be stay with a person, stay with a job, stay with a major that you already put 3 years into, stay at a house or an apartment that you don't like. Whatever comes to mind for you right now, there is probably an easier way to just stay with it. It's probably easier for you to just suck it up. But in the long run, is it really easier? Is it going to make you happy? No. So it's not easier. And I know it's easier said than done. But I want to kind of bring you through my history, my work history, school history, and exactly how I got into this mindset and why I feel this way and why I feel it's so important to talk about. First of all, just the idea of knowing what you want to do and having to make those decisions at 18 years old or even younger is absolutely bonkers to me. You don't have all the information, you don't have any experience, you barely have met anybody in these professions you're supposed to like decide on. I think if I went back and talked to myself from who I am now, I'd be like, there is this whole online place. Like, nobody talks about this. And I know that we kind of grew up with it and it wasn't as prominent, but I feel like even kids now in high school or middle school, whoever they are, whatever age, aren't exposed to this stuff, exposed to building a business, exposed to working for yourself, being a creator. And again, I know it's much more prominent now, but I just feel like never was it presented to students when I was going through school, and it really hasn't been presented as much now. And that is also a point I want to make while I'm on that topic. It doesn't mean that you have to want what I want. It doesn't mean that you have to want to work for yourself. A 9 to 5 is awesome. Whatever hours, as long as it is a job that you enjoy and a job that fulfills you, that is amazing. Not everybody's cup of tea is starting their own business, working for themselves, being on their phone 24/7 as a social media manager, or having to sit in front of a laptop on vacation, having, building a brick and mortar business. Whatever it may be that other people are striving to be, you don't have to strive to be that. And I know so many awesome people who are so happy, successful, and just living their best life doing that 9 to 5. I am just coming from my life has led to where I am because I pivoted out of that lifestyle into the lifestyle of a creator and freelancer. And that's just what feeds my soul, what I love to do, and what just makes sense for me. So let me just get right into it and talk to you about kind of like my credentials to talk about this, because I know that it might sound like annoying me saying just pivot and like it's not that easy. Well, let's go back to little Kim, elementary school Kim. I was so set on being part of NASA. I know that's so weird. I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. I barely knew what that was, but I knew I loved space, stars, like planets. I love learning about that stuff. I had like a mural on my wall of the moon. I had posters of the sun and just little like there was so many things that I just collected and wanted to learn about because I wanted to be this NASA aeronautical engineer. I don't know when that ended. I know that for like fifth grade career day, that's what I said I wanted to do. But career day was also awesome because I was introduced to some other jobs, including a journalist anchor. So that did stick with me. I was very interested in that as well, which you'll see down the line. But I don't know where that switched. I kind of moved away from that sciencey stuff, maybe because I wasn't very good at science. I don't know. But I moved into wanting to be like those basic like things that you learn about. So like teachers, artists, writers, like you don't really get exposed to a lot of different jobs. I feel like maybe you know what a lawyer is, a doctor is, like the things that you see one on one, or just stuff that's in the movies, like journalists or news anchors or I don't know, nurses, just all kinds of things, you know what I'm trying to say. So those are the things that I really wanted to do until I had to think about it more seriously, because suddenly you're in high school, you need to decide on colleges, you need to decide on a job. And at the time when I was a student, it wasn't really a choice. Like, do you want to go to college, or do you want to strive for the biggest, most expensive college, or do you want to go with a less expensive college? It was more like, we're going to apply you to schools. What do you want to go into school looking to do? At this point, it was all about being in the best school. It was about being accepted to schools that looked good. I was looking around, people had like full ride scholarships, sports scholarships. They had just acceptance letters from multiple schools. And I didn't even have like ECC, well, for around here, if you're not from around here, like community college. I didn't have those even on my radar. Looking back, I do feel like that was a better route for me. I think that's an awesome way to go. If you are in high school right now, or you have a child or whoever who you have an influence over, I highly recommend just saying get those like core classes out of the way at a community college. But anyways, I was more concerned about getting into a cool, like awesome college and getting that college experience, and a lot more went into my decision. Um, I was in like a long relationship in high school, like a high school sweetheart situation, and that, I mean, really made choices for me, I should say. And that's not to say it's a good or a bad thing. It's just something that happens in high school. You're in love, you want to stay with this person, so you make decisions based on that. So a lot of things went into it, but I ended up going to a expensive college. I wanted to play softball. It was this whole thing. And then I got sick with, it's actually so random, but I got sick with like very chronic bad sinusitis, horrible vertigo. I was so dizzy I couldn't walk in a straight line for weeks at a time. So I couldn't go to school the one semester. And at the same time, my dad had gotten in a bad accident and was in the hospital for a month straight. So all of that kind of culminated into me taking a look at what I was doing. So I had 1 year in at this college. Um, I might not have said that, but I'm at that college for 1 year. I'm studying journalism. I changed to like multimedia, like communications, and I just wasn't feeling it. I felt like I was out of the loop. Like there were so many cliques, a lot of people lived on campus, and I just felt it wasn't for me. So during this time when I was sick, wasn't able to go to school or really do anything, I couldn't work, and my dad got in his accident while I was feeling better, I ended up being there all the time. I was looking into another school, and this school had felt also like out of my reach when I was in high school. And I never even applied to it. But I looked into different majors. I was like, I do love law. Like, let's go into law. So I was like, maybe I want to do law school. I don't know. So this is like the big pivot I made first in my life, I would say. Like there was a lot, like a series of little decisions that got me here, but I think this was one of the pivotal, like for lack of a better word, pivots that I made. Um, because it really showed me that it's okay to do that. It showed me that you are allowed to change, you're allowed to change your mind. And I do want to also preface this by saying I have the amazing privilege to be able to just switch schools and colleges. And I know that's not everybody's case. But that's a topic for another episode, I think. But so this is what I did. I looked into some other majors. I was like, you know what? This other school sounds awesome. Let's study law. Like, I'll decide if I want to go to law school a little down the road. It'll be awesome. So I ended up getting into that school, go me, and loved it. I was happier with the bigger class sizes. I really liked learning about law. I ended up double majoring in law and sociology. And during this time, I was on probably my fifth job. Um, and I know the jobs don't really matter when you're, in school or high school or whatever, but I had had so many jobs by then. I think, let me think. So I worked at a pizza place, I worked at Delta Sonic, I worked at a golf course, I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. Um, I think that's it. And then my best friend to this day, Jenny, shout out if you're listening, got me my first job in healthcare. And that was huge for me. I finally got into like an industry I liked, an industry that had stable jobs, that even though I was in college still, I was able to establish myself there, see if I liked it. And I ended up really liking it. So I graduated with my legal studies, sociology double major and degree, and continued working in healthcare. And while I had my 4-year degree, I'm always looking like, should I do more? Should I like go back to school for my master's? And I ended up I'm still like worried to even talk about this because it's like a little embarrassing, but no, we have to claim it. So I tried to go back to school like 3 times for social work, for teaching, for nursing. I did a semester for nursing, a semester for teaching. And at these times, I also was living in different areas of the state. So it just was a lot going on. And then I ended up working as a social worker at an assisted living facility. So that's for like older folks. And it was more like a medical setting. It wasn't like a retirement home type thing, it was an assisted living. So I was a social worker. I really liked that. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'm going through all these jobs. I'm going to school for all these things, and nothing is like hitting the nail on the head. You know what I mean? Like nothing felt right, or like I was falling into it easily. It didn't feel like a puzzle and I'm like finding my spot. I just felt like there was always some resistance and something that just didn't feel how it should feel. And I always strived for that. I always felt like this can't be it. Like there's more. Like, why am I settling? And that's a thought that I run into a lot of people, and they're like, why do you think you deserve better? Like, not in so many words, but they'll say like life, this is life. Like everybody kind of just deals with it, and it's just, it's just something that I want to help people unlearn. You do not have to settle, and the world is so big. The world has so many opportunities, and I think a lot of this comes from my belief in the universe, and that it gives you what you are looking for, and that you and your thoughts make your reality. And that's going to be another episode together, because I wholeheartedly believe in all of this stuff. But I don't know like what it is, but I wholeheartedly have always believed that there is more out there for you if you want it. So other people would look at me and be like, why do you like think you deserve, like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just filling in the blank myself, but I feel like I was being judged or laughed at, or just people were like, really, like, calm down, when I would just change things because it just wasn't feeling right, or I felt like I deserved more and there was more to be discovered and explored in the world. So, as a social worker, I kept that stable job, quote unquote, stable job. And at the same time, I'm like, let's look into like some other things I can do. And I came across freelancing. And this is where everything changed for me. Another huge pivot in my life was going from a 9 to 5, more specifically like 7:30 to 4, but one of those types of jobs where you have a boss and then a boss above that boss, and very rigid,
instructions. You have to be careful what you say, like, and do. You have to go to lunch when you want to go to lunch. Like, and again,